All right. So this video is for my entertainment and education purposes only. Any and everything I say could be wrong. That's why I always encourage people to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. I always say that. So, yeah, we'll just get right into this video. I'm still experimenting with the live thing. I might end up doing like an announcement. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing yet with this. Oh, I know what I could do. Let's do this. I'm going to push on this button. I don't really know what it's going to do, but I kind of know. Oh, wait. What's going on? Show live. What happened? Anyways, whatever. All right. So, you comb my hair. All right. This is something just for fun. I wanted to try just for fun. And nobody's here. But that's okay, because nobody's ever here when I do videos anyway. It's just me. And so, okay, I thought this would be a fun thing for me to talk about. I want to talk about like innate knowledge. Okay, innate knowledge. Okay, so innate knowledge might seem like it's not a real thing, like it's some woo-woo shit, but it's really not. Like, you can look at animals have innate knowledge. Animals are born with innate knowledge. Like, I always like to use the example of birds flying south for the winter. Birds just know. It's gnosis, innate knowledge. Birds are basically somehow gifted with the innate knowledge to fly south for the winter. Birds don't have to go to school, to like kindergarten and grade school and public schools to learn to fly south for the winter. They just fly south for the winter. It's innate knowledge. And so if you can observe innate knowledge in animals, then you can observe it in humans. Like babies are born with innate knowledge. Like they cry when they're in pain, you know. Anyways, so this goes on and on and on. So, and then what it seems to be the case, and many people have theorized over many years, long before you and I were ever born, people theorized that we are conditioned to ignore our innate knowledge. And as a matter of fact, I can even bring up an example. I'll do that now. An example of this, where this is not something new. I'm telling you, I was surprised when I came across this. This is not something new. The idea that we are like brainwashed and stuff, and we are conditioned to ignore our innate knowledge that we're born with. We're conditioned to ignore this shit. Check this out. This book is called Apocrypha. This is allegedly, biblical scripture. And this is a King James version of the Apocrypha. And it was omitted from the Bible. It was like taken out of the Bible, okay? And a lot of this is the writings of James, I believe. Let me see. Well, anyways, yeah, so there's a bunch of shit in here that this is shit that was removed from the Bible, okay? Which I think is kind of cool. So there's the wisdom of Solomon in here, for example. But anyways, one day I opened this book just randomly and started reading. And in these pages, it talks about how the education system back then, this was allegedly written 2,000 years ago, that the education system they had back then was the same as it is today. was all about indoctrination. And one way to put it was antichrist. Education was antichrist. And so in the book Apocrypha, it talks about how young people are educated to like reject, you know, the commandments and shit like this. Oh, I might even have it bookmarked. Let me see if it's here. It probably is somewhere. Anyways, what was my point? Was not the water made sweet with wood, that the virtue thereof might be known? And he hath given men skill, that he might be honored in his marvelous works. With such doth he heal men, and taketh away their pains. Of such doth the apothecary make a confection, and of his works there is no end, and from him is peace over all the earth. Anyways, interesting shit. I mean, but anyways, no. This contains the description of the education system back 2,000 years ago, and it says the same thing that people are saying today about the education system, that it's all indoctrination and brainwash and all this stuff. And, you know, like you think about, even if you think about, like, let's look at when this book was published. Let's see, this is published out of Cambridge University Press. What year was this? Let's see, first printing in 1992. So even if this stuff wasn't written 2,000 years ago, whoever forged this fake copy, it had to have been at least back in 1992. Okay. So even back in 1992, they were talking about how the education system is just is indoctrinating youth to basically just become robots and shit, to be uneducated, dumbed down robots. Anyways, why am I talking about the education system? I'm talking about innate knowledge, knowledge that we are born with. Okay, so I'm probably going to keep this video short, but anyways, innate knowledge. Okay, so innate knowledge is kind of like, if you ever seen the cartoon where you have the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder, and the angel, haven't you seen those old cartoons? I'm 51, but anyways, they had the cartoons with the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, and the angel. This is a real shit, bro. Okay. What the angel represents is innate knowledge. The angel is the innate knowledge, like the innate knowledge telling the birds to fly south for the winter. That's what the angel is. And the devil on the other shoulder is like the opposite of innate knowledge. This is like what society wants you to. You've got innate knowledge trying to communicate with you, and then you have all of the messaging, basically conditioning and grooming and brainwashing of society, including things like the education system and all this stuff. That's what the devil represents, dude. So when you see the cartoons and that depict the angel on one shoulder talking into one ear, and then the devil on the other shoulder talking into the other ear, and their contrary messages, the angel is innate knowledge. That's trying to tell you like what's real. And then the devil is all this garbage that society has taught you, which is all goes against innate knowledge. This is the way it is. I mean, you know, and again, people can say this is woo-woo shit, but it's not. It's not. Because if a person were to actually consciously listen to their internal dialogue. I'll give you an example. One of my friends talked with me about this, and anyways, I'm talking about innate knowledge. Oh, and he's gone. Okay, cool, whatever. So, anyways, one of my friends was describing this to me, and he basically, this was the analogy. He said that he said, like, if I'm sitting like at a park bench, right, at a park, because that's where we were at a park, and he said, say you see somebody walk by and they drop their wallet and they don't know and they just keep walking. Well, if I were to listen to my internal, like consciously listen to my internal dialogue when that happened right in front of me, I would have an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other. And like the angel's going to be saying, you need to get that wallet to that person, right? And the devil's going to be sitting there saying, no, dude, no. You want to look inside the wallet first, see how much money there is, because, you know, if there's a lot of money in there, you don't want to give that wallet. See, that's innate knowledge is the voice that's telling you that you need to give that wallet to that person. And so, but it's up to you to decide what you want to listen to. You have to decide whether you want to go to that wallet, pick it up, and look in it. You know, like say there's $1,000 in that wallet, right? And so innate knowledge is telling you you need to get that wallet to that person. And then all this garbage that you've been brainwashed with over many years by society and the education system and in the entertainment industry and all this other shit, that's the devil. And the devil will try to rationalize all this away, like, no, man, no, just keep the wallet, you know, just keep it. That's like God left that wallet for you. That wallet full of $1,000 in cash, God left that for you as a gift, you know, you should take it, right? Anyways, it's innate knowledge, you know. One example I was using is fucking when birds fly south for the winter. That's innate knowledge. So anyways, to me, it's not a theory. To me, that's real. And so anyways, you know, I guess my point is, because I was thinking about this earlier, is going back to this thing about all this money going to Israel. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just tired of people talking about it because nobody's being clear, and it's just annoying because, like, you know, if a person has innate knowledge, you know, they know where that money should go. All that money going to Israel, there's only one place that it should go, is the people here in need. That's it. You know? So the answer is obvious. That's why it just fucking annoys me that people, they, you know, it's just bullshit. And I don't like being bullshitted. I don't like it when people are trying to bullshit me. And so now, I mean, I'm sick of it. I've been listening to these people go on about money going to Israel like forever, like Mark Dice, all these people like Mark Dice and all these people, they're just bullshitters, dude. I mean, and so it's just kind of annoying me because I was thinking about it earlier today again. And it got me thinking about, like, you know, innate knowledge. Like, people know what the right thing to do is. People know, but then they choose not to. They choose to bullshit themselves and bullshit everyone else. And so you got those videos. Oh yeah, I got them. Yeah, I hope you get to see those or any of them. This shit is totally insane. All right, yeah, I'll try to check it out for sure. Yeah, I did get him though. Yeah, I liked him. I let you know. I gave it the thumbs up. I'll try to check him out. But anyways, I'm just still experimenting with the fucking live thing, and I just decided to turn on the camera and bullshit about something. But I got nothing, man. There ain't nothing going on. There's nothing of any interest to me going on the fucking internet and shit. I watched, yeah, dude, I'm glad to hear, man. Thanks so much. Yeah, no problem, brother. And so I checked out like BitChute a little bit. There's nothing on BitChute. I don't know if you check out BitChute at all. Like, it's so fucking dumb, bro. Anyways, so it sucks that BitChute is so much worse now. Um, is yeah, no, it is. I clicked on it. I clicked on it and listened for a little bit. It's definitely interest of mine, dude. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Like, I clicked on both of the videos and watched. Yeah, I know, right? But I clicked on both of those videos and just watched briefly, and what she talks about, I'm definitely interested in that stuff. But you know what's crazy about that is that my ex-girlfriend, she was all into that shit, and it fucking like all the like twin flame stuff and shit like that. She was into all that stuff, and fucking she just went totally off the fucking edge of a cliff with that stuff. And so it just depends. I don't know. Some people, that shit really fucks their head up, but I'm into it. Like, I have a tarot deck. I have a book on tarot and a tarot deck, and I've got like a lot of crystals and shit like that and stuff. And I used to be into Wicca. I was into Wicca for a while because I was trying to find like a spiritual system that worked for me, and because I felt like I needed some kind of spiritual kind of thing in my life, but I nothing really spoke to me. I mean, I sought through a lot of different stuff, and Wicca was the only spiritual kind of system that I could even entertain. But I felt like I needed some kind of spiritual thing, and so I started getting into the solitary practice of Wicca. I didn't really get into it with other people, but the solitary practicing of Wiccan rituals and shit, and it really helped me, at the time. So I don't think that it's bad. I think it can be bad though. Like, people can really get fucked up on that stuff, man. And my ex-girlfriend was the first person I ever seen. Like, she just went fucking like demon possessed by that stuff. And so I'm more leery of it, in a sense. But but anyways, no, I'll check it out though. I watched like one of her videos so far, and yeah, I'll definitely check her videos out, the ones that you sent. Oh, that reminds me, you might like what's his name, the Spiritual Hobo. Oh, no worries, it's totally cool. But unavailable, you might like the Spiritual Hobo. His channel is called the Spiritual Hobo, and dude, he's crazy, bro. If you like that woman that does that shit, I recommend you check out the Spiritual Hobo. And I actually met him. She was saying something about the human organism being in danger. Yeah, no, I think she probably has some shit to say, dude. I think, dude, I'll tell you this about people like that. They do have like insight. What I've come to find with people like that, they'll talk, like, they'll go way out there and start talking about all the, like, they'll kind of go out there. But if a person really listens to them, they'll drop some deep shit, you know, real stuff. They'll talk about real stuff. But you might also like the spiritual hobo. And so I met him in person, and we hung out like hours and hours. We would hang out. And I was basically getting free tarot readings from him. He's a self-proclaimed like tarot reader. Oh yeah, he's like a self-proclaimed tarot reader, and he was pretty legit, because I hung out with him for a ton of hours. He was like living near me for like a month in his bus. And once I discovered that he was a tarot reader, I would go over there and hang out with him, and we would just talk for hours, and he was the real shit, dude. He's real. So yeah, no, people like that, they definitely can you know, have a lot of insight and stuff. But I actually, you know what I'll do? Yeah. Wait. Oh, really? Yeah. Pop up in my, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's crazy, dude. Like, me and him actually had a kind of a falling out, but I don't see it as a falling out. I don't really give a shit. But we ended up butting heads, and then he got pissed off and it was like telling me to fuck off and shit. And I don't even care. I was like, whatever, dude. I don't care. Like, if I ever saw him, I'd go up and give him a big hug and be like, what's up, dude? And he wouldn't care either. But he got pissed off at me. I mean, the reason is because, dude, I stand my ground. Like, if I'm firm on something, I don't budge. I don't care if they're a tarot reader. I don't give a fuck who they are. And then he was saying something that I didn't agree with, so I just said, nah, I don't agree with that. And he got all butthurt. And I was like, what do you mean? Why are you fucking pissed off? All I'm saying is this. And then the more, he just got more and more pissed. And finally he's like, fucking telling me to fuck off and shit. And I thought it was hilarious, dude. I was just laughing. I was like, whatever, bro. I don't give a fuck, man. I don't care. But like I said, if I ever ran into him, he wouldn't. I mean, he can hold a grudge if he wants to. I don't care. But he's an interesting guy. Like he'll rub people the wrong way. He rubs people the wrong way. But if a person can get past that and just sit with it, I try to do that. I mean, I don't even have to try. I mean, sometimes I need to make a conscious effort to stand my ground. But like, if it's something that I'm really firm in, I just don't even give a fuck, you know? And, but he's like that. He's like that. He will rub people the wrong way, because he's like that as well. He stands firm in his beliefs. And some of them are just shit that I don't really, I'm like, whatever. But if a person can get past that and not take what he says he's saying personally, and they just listen, he's got a lot of good insight. And yeah, he's called the spiritual hobo, and he's like 6'3". He's a funny ass dude, bro. He's fucking crazy, man. And that's the first person that I ever got a tarot reading from. You know, I'll tell you like what happened. So I came across his tent, right? And his tent was like really shitty. It was all shitty, and there was pallets all over his tent. It's like this big, it's like this big shanty shack, and it was all fucked up with pallets all over the place. And then he used duct tape, silver duct tape, and spelled out tarot on the front of his shitty fucking tent, bro. And I was like, I looked at it, and he has this big spotlight on it says tarot, and it's this shitty tent with pallets all over the place. It was fucked up, and I was looking at like, what the fuck, right? And so then I approached the tent, and then he comes out, and then I was like, just talking to him like, you're a tarot reader and stuff, and he immediately introduced himself as the spiritual hobo. And I had been doing the Angry Hobo channel for like fucking, you know, since 2016 already. And so right in that moment, I realized if I ever want to get a tarot reading, it's with this motherfucker. Because like I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying? His tarot tent was just this big disaster. It looked like a fucking homeless camp and shit. And he called himself the spiritual hobo. And there's fucking pallets and fucking shit all over the place. And then it said tarot in duct tape. I mean, it's like perfect. And so I just started hanging out with him and shooting the shit. And he's immediately blowing my mind. He's telling me all kinds of stuff. Okay, I'll tell you some of his philosophy. Some of his philosophy, okay, is he says that we have two brains, okay? And he explains it like, look, we have two ears, we have two eyes, we have two nostrils, we have two hands, we have 2 feet, we have two brains. And then he goes, and it sounds wacky, but it's true, you know? And so, yeah, I believe it's true too. Like, actually in the medical field, I found this out later, which I was really fascinated, is a friendly acquaintance of mine was telling me that the stomach is regarded as the second brain in the medical field. The stomach. And this guy that was telling me that, he learned that because he had a bunch of fucking problems with his stomach and was having to go to the doctor all the time. And because there's so little that doctors know about the stomach and all this stuff. So apparently, like in the medical field, a lot of people refer to the stomach as the second brain, which is also interesting because when they talk about gut feeling, you know how intuition is referred to as a gut feeling, you know? So it's just, so it's crazy, you know, but yeah. And so I started going out down fucking the spiritual hobo rabbit hole. And yeah. So I started going down the spiritual hobo rabbit hole, and he's a cool guy, you know. And but like I said, you know, he perceives that me and him had a falling out and got all pissed off and was telling me to fuck off and shit. And yeah, this is about survival. Yeah, like with the gut instinct and gut feeling and stuff. But anyways, and he talks a lot about, you know, well, he kind of goes in the same vein of talking about innate knowledge and shit, which is kind of what I was kind of talking about earlier in the live stream, is just innate knowledge. And like people that don't believe in the innate knowledge is real, all you have to do is look at animals. Birds is I like to use birds as an example because birds know to fly south for the winter. That's innate knowledge, you know, and we all have innate knowledge. And I think like what kind of frustrates me about shit on the internet, you know, and like platforms, video hosting platforms, and commentary, is people insult other people's innate knowledge by telling them the stupidest shit. That if a person just listens to their internal dialogue, like it's totally obvious that it's bullshit, you know? And there's so much bullshit always. And so sometimes it's difficult to not just want to rant about it and talk shit, you know, like how stupid things are. And all that money going to Israel is just one of those examples. Like, I'm so sick of hearing people talk about all this money going to Israel. I don't give a fuck. And like I said in my last live stream, like, it's good. It's good that that's happening because shit has to get worse before people are going to, like, you know, do anything about any of this. Shit's just going to keep having to get worse and worse. And I don't like that. I'm not looking forward to it, you know. I don't want things to get worse, but that's how I learned. How I learned the most valuable lessons of my life, how I learned them, is that shit got so fucking bad and so intolerable that I had to change, you know. There's something going on here, man, and the truth is very important. Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, and no matter what it is, exactly. No matter what it is, the truth always prevails. No matter what it is, whether it's, you know, pleasant or not, you know, the truth is what's up. But that's how, like, the most valuable shit I ever learned in my life, I learned because shit got so fucking bad that I couldn't take it anymore, and I was forced to change. It's like, change or die. And I think that that's what's happening is shit just has to get bad before people start getting real. Everybody's comfortable with all this fake shit, everything being fake all the time. It's like, all right, whatever. Like the Potemkin village. I like that term, Potemkin village, if you've ever heard that term. That's what so much of everything is. And like Carl Jung talked about this. If you know who Carl Jung is, Carl Jung talked about the Potemkin village all the time. Carl Jung said that all of this stuff is all bullshit. That's what Carl Jung talked about. Everything is basically bullshit. Everything is like a Potemkin village, and all these things that we are conditioned to value in life, they're all shackles that keep us from our true destiny. Like everything is this. He calls it a systematization of reality. Carl Jung said that all this shit that goes on all around us is all a systematization of reality that isn't real, or like a Potemkin village facade. And all this shit, all they are they're shackles that keep us from our true destiny. And I agree with him. I totally agree in that sense, That's like the gnostic jung stuff. I mean, people talk about it all the time. Everything is fucking fake. Fake news, fake, Trump's fake bullet in his ear, the fake Kirk, whatever his name, Charlie Kirk, all this fake shit. Everybody's talking about how there's all this fake shit going on everywhere, And like this is nothing new. Carl Jung was talking about this in the fucking 60s and shit, the 50s and 60s, saying the same thing. And money was one of the things, like money, family, duty, all of this stuff. This is all bullshit that we've been programmed and conditioned and groomed to believe are important things in life. And so anyways, I don't know. But anyways, dude, so I'll send you I'll find the link to the Spiritual Hobo channel, and I'll post it in one of your comments. I'll reply to one of your comments with the link to his channel. He's a crazy motherfucker, dude. But he's cool, He's a cool guy, I guess, But anyways, I'm just rambling and see. Oh yeah, thanks. And I'll check out those videos. I'll try to check one of them out tonight. I gotta work tomorrow. But I got Fridays and Saturdays off, so I might do maybe do live streams on the weekend or I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the live stream yet, but I'm just rambling, so I'm gonna cut it short. When I think of something fucking interesting to talk about, I'll come back on the live stream. All right, later, dudes.